Welcome back to the Anime Audit. This episode we are taking a deeper look at our favorite clown in anime, Buggy the Star Clown. Fact number 1. Buggy has the biggest bounty increase so far in the series, at least the biggest that we've seen. I'm sure that there are plenty of other pirates who have had large increases throughout the history of the One Piece world that we just have not seen. I doubt any of them have been as big as his, but I just wanted to clarify that there's always room for someone to pop up and do something crazy, or maybe something crazy's happened in the past, but that's just been hidden by the world government. Buggy's bounty has made the biggest rise in history by rising from a small 15 million berry bounty to a bounty of nearly 3.2 billion berries. That's a staggering raise for any character in One Piece. This substantial raise may be in part due to him not receiving a bounty increase after escaping Impelled Down due to becoming a warlord. Now his bounty increase would still be fairly large, but it would be offset quite a bit. It's worth noting that Buggy knows about the Poneglyphs, and more importantly, he knows about the existence of the One Piece and how to find it. The world government knows that Buggy is a former member of the Roger Pirates, which means that he has connections to Shanks and to other powerful pirates, and after all, he should know the true history of the world. Fact number 2. Buggy's popularity has constantly been declining over the years. Buggy was ranked as the 7th most popular character in the first ever fan poll, and has recently declined all the way to the 34th spot as recently as 2021 in the 7th fan poll. Now 34th isn't necessarily bad, but it isn't great considering the different roles that Buggy's played. When you consider the time that he spent on screen, in comparison with other great characters like Marco, Vivi, and Mihawk, you'd think that Buggy would be a little bit higher. Although, I assume that if there was a more recent fan poll, he would rank quite a bit higher due to his surge in relevance now that he has teamed up with Mihawk and Crocodile. It seems like Oda has a lot planned out for Buggy, and I assume that he'll play a major role in the remainder of the series. Either his place in the series will actually have a point, or he'll more or less end up being comedic relief. I'll leave that for you guys to debate down in the comments. Fact number 3. In an early interview with Shonen Jump, Oda once stated that Buggy was actually his favorite villain in the series. However, this was quite some time ago, and Oda might have changed his mind since then. And with Buggy being one of Oda's favorite characters, it makes sense why Buggy repeatedly made appearances throughout the series. You would think that an early on villain like Buggy, who largely seemed to be comedic relief, would have stopped making appearances or wouldn't be a major character. But we still have Buggy, and it looks like he's surging in relevance as the series begins to wind down. Now, I understand why Oda loves Buggy, but personally my favorite villain so far in this series has to be Doflamingo. His devil fruit is extremely unique, and his character design and personality are truly great. The backstory that went into the Dressrosa arc was truly amazing, which is why I believe that Doflamingo is by far the best villain in the series. Fact number 4. In 2021, a gene of the fruit fly species was named the Baramecian A after Buggy. The gene produces a protein which is split into multiple parts similar to Buggy's devil fruit power. The article that I found on this goes as far to state the name Baramecian was partly inspired by Oda's character Buggy, a Barabara superhuman. I'll include a link in the description if you want to read more on this. Really, it went over my head, but it's cool to see One Piece references popping up throughout the world, and I'm sure we're going to see more of them as the series continues to get older and the people that grew up with it continue to do great and amazing things. Fact number 5. In Buggy's flashback, he is shown arguing with Shanks about the North and South Pole, prior to eating the Barabara no Mi. In Chapter 0, Buggy is confirmed to have eaten his devil fruit 27 years ago. However, in Odin's flashback, the argument between Buggy and Shanks seemingly took place after Odin had joined the pirates roughly 26 years ago. This more or less implied an inconsistency, and some fans started throwing a fit. In the Viver Card Visual Dictionary, Oda and his crew attempt to explain this by stating that the same argument occurred repeatedly between the two. This is a great way to wash away this inconsistency and fits in perfectly with Buggy's personality. Fact number 6. Now, the Buggy we know today looks much more like a traditional clown, but did you know that the original concept art for Buggy made him look much more like the Joker? This Buggy was drawn in a harder, more realistic style, making him look more like a traditional scary clown. The Buggy that we have today has a more rounded and cartoonish face. Buggy's red nose was also made bigger and a more important feature on his face in comparison to the concept art, which had a normal looking nose. Personally, I'm glad that Oda made this change as the original design is honestly kind of terrifying. There's just something about his nose and the makeup that just looks like something out of a horror movie. I can't imagine the fear that that face would have caused me in my nightmares as a kid. The change from the original concept art is much better, and the only reason I could see Oda using this original concept art of Buggy's design is if Buggy was intended to be much more serious than the current version. The change from the original concept art shows us that Oda might have had different plans for Buggy, that he might have been a more serious and dangerous threat to the Straw Hats. It could have just been a change to appeal to kids and make the series just a little more family friendly and get the series off the ground. Fact number 7. Now, you might have noticed the tassels on Buggy's hat, but did you know that they're actually his hair? Over the years, Oda's answered a lot of questions from fans regarding the series. At one point, a fan asked about Buggy's tassels on his hat, and Oda responded and said that the 2 tufts were actually his hair. Interestingly enough, Buggy purposely ties his hair into 2 separate ponytails and then feeds them through his hat. But he is a clown after all, and his appearance is a huge part of his act and is really important to him. Fact number 8. Now, did you know that Oda planned for Buggy to go by a different name? Originally, Buggy was going to be called Boogie. That was until Oda took some time and watched the movie Nightmare Before Christmas and decided that the name Boogie was already taken and that it would be better just to rename the character to something similar. Oda quickly thought up of a new name and changed Boogie's name to Buggy. The concept art plus the fact that he was originally going to be called Boogie makes me think that he could have ended up being more or less of a boogeyman-like villain. This version of Buggy would have been a much more dangerous villain and could have had a much larger role in the series at the beginning. Fact number 9. Like a lot of characters in the 4Kids dub, Buggy had his own issues. Under the 4Kids English dub, Buggy was censored in multiple ways. His crew's alcohol was censored into grapefruit punch, blood was erased from his attacks, and Luffy's kick to his groin was redrawn as a kick to the shin. Now we all know that the 4Kids dub did some crazy and outlandish things early on in the series. I'm sure that 4Kids made these changes in order to make the show just a little bit more family friendly and try and get it on as many TVs as possible and try to make as much money as possible. Now I know that I'm not the only one that thinks this, but I'm truly glad that 4Kids is no longer doing the dub and that Funimation has taken over and seemingly doing an okay job. Fact number 10. Did you know that Buggy is unable to bleed due to his devil fruit? This makes sense considering his devil fruit allows him to split into and control multiple pieces of his body. We know this for a fact due to a fan asking Oda in an SBS if Buggy was able to bleed. Oda responded by saying no, Buggy can't bleed. Oda went on to say that one of the main reasons he made this decision for Buggy's character was that if he could bleed, he'd be too scary. Fact number 11. Buggy's Japanese voice actor has voiced multiple big roles, such as one of my favorite characters, Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho, Raditz and Emperor Pilaf from the Dragon Ball series, as well as minor roles in Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer. Buggy's English voice actor has voiced famous Dragon Ball characters like Master Roshi and Yajirobe. Outside of Dragon Ball, he has voiced characters like Havok from Fullmetal Alchemist, John Kirstein from Attack on Titan, as well as popular characters from Tokyo Ghoul. It's also fun to see that he has voiced iconic characters like Helmeppo, Yokozuna, and Eyelash in One Piece. Fact number 12. Out of the current and former emperors, Buggy is the only one to not possess any type of haki. I assume that he has some sort of haki, I just believe that he hasn't figured out how to truly use it. I assume at some point in the series he'll activate it out of sheer luck and get out of a sticky situation. Fact number 13. Buggy and Blackbeard are the only known individuals to serve as both members of the Warlord system and the 4 Emperors. Therefore, Buggy and Blackbeard are the only 2 individuals who have been a part of 2 of the 3 great powers. This is quite the accomplishment and showcases that the government recognized the threat that they both posed early on and more or less tried to recruit them to their side by making them warlords. And after saying that, it just reminds me that the world government is extremely shady and just how pointless the warlord system is, because how can you truly control a group of pirates without giving up a lot? I mean, just look at Doflamingo's case and how the government more or less just looked over everything going on in Dressrosa and all the other illegal stuff that was going on. Well, that's all I've got on Buggy for today. Let me know down in the comments who you want to see next, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more anime-related content.